Good afternoon, all of you. Today's resource person are joined on online platform. Professor Dr. Chandrakant Baviskar, sir, working as a director of School of Educational Sciences. He has recognized PhD guide. He has completed major research project, minor research project. So many research committee members and chairmen. So many academical committee members and chairman, BOS member, Senate member, academic member, RRC member, working as a member and chairman. And so many research paper sir has published in a reported journal. I request to Professor Dr. Baviskar, sir, please start your session, sir.
Thank you, Ginine sir, for introducing me. Good afternoon, one and all. Today we are going to learn about various aspects of a research proposal. How the things are put in the research proposal.
सर स्लाइड शेअर केली आहे का?
Oh, दिसत नाहीये?
नाही सर. विद्यार्थ्यांनी व्हिडिओ बंद ठेवायचा आहे.
दिसलंय का?
येस सर, दिसत आहे आता.
So there are various aspects. So this is the first presentation that today we are going to study, and it is titled as a research proposal. So first of all, page setup. How when you start typing your research proposal, synopsis, and a thesis. So before going to next aspect, you must know what is proposal. What is synopsis? What is abstract? What is thesis? These are the various terms related to your work. So something that you propose before starting any research is nothing but a proposal. What is synopsis? Synopsis is the thing that you prepared after the end of your research. Means it includes findings, conclusion, recommendations, connective links, implications, everything included in the synopsis, whereas these terms are in the proposal. Remember that you are proposing what will be the budget of your research, what would be the timeline of your research. These things are covered in the proposal, and this does not include in the synopsis. What is the abstract? Abstract is written for the research paper. So from your thesis, you pull out one objective, and based on that objective, you prepare a paper. That paper might be of 15, 16, 14, 30 pages. And that you have to put into 250 to 300 words. That is called as the abstract. And do you know which abstract is the most smallest abstract in the world? तुम्हाला माहिती आहे का सर्वात जगातलं सर्वात छोटं abstract काय आहे? And who has written this abstract? The smallest abstract in the world is written by Albert Einstein, and it is nothing but E is equal to mc square. Remember, only that much abstract he has put for written for his research paper, and it one. Remember. Next thing, the word is thesis and dissertation. So there is ambiguity, or when you go in European countries abroad, you will see PhD. We term our PhD work, the compile in the pages. We term it as a thesis, whereas in abroad it term as a dissertation. Remember that. But why we term it as a thesis? Because as per UGC guideline, it is a thesis. Remember that. As per their guideline, if you go and see, they have term PhD work should be compiled in the thesis, in the form of thesis, and dissertation in the MPhil work, research work in the form of dissertation. This smaller work, a small work done in a small time span, written, and all the outcome written in a smaller pages and compiled, the binded work is called as a dissertation, whereas thesis is a doctoral term for the doctoral research work, and it is as per the UGC guideline. Remember that. If you go in abroad, you will see most of the doctoral theses are termed as a dissertation, doctoral dissertation. Remember, these are the some of the terms that I would like to highlight. So we'll go to the next part. How to next thing is a proposal. Sorry, page setup. Remember that. So during this page setup, you have to always your page should be a bond paper. First of all, paper quality is of a bond paper quality. The color of the bond paper is should be of white. Remember that. Bond paper with A4 size. This is the first thing. Second thing, the color should be of white. Remember. And generally it should be of 80 to 90 GSM. The paper thickness should be 80 to 90 GSM. Remember that. And in general, in how many pages the thesis should be compiled? So literally it should be the above 200 pages, but not more than 400 pages. Remember that, because InfluNet has their own guideline. So your thesis should not be more than 400 pages. As per InfluNet guideline, because before submitting thesis to the university, you have to submit the thesis to the library of respective universities. And when they take the soft copy of the thesis, if your thesis is more than 400, then generally they did not accept it. Remember that. So you have to, before drafting your thesis work, you have to take care of this. So it should not be more than 400 pages. Remember. So there are different subjects. They followed the different guidelines. Remember that. MLA, Modern Language Association guideline, generally followed in languages. APA, American Psychological Association guideline, is followed by the subjects come under social science, education, physical education. IEEE or Chicago, generally followed in computer science and other. So there are guidelines that you must know that in your subject, our university, which guideline is following. So according to the guideline, you have to prepare your own thesis. Remember, तुम्हाला ज्या विषयाची जी गाईडलाईन फॉलो केली जाते त्या गाईड किंवा त्या रिसर्च सेंटरला तुम्हाला इन्क्वायरी करावं लागेल आणि त्यानुसारच तुमचं सिनॉप्सिस, तुमचं प्रपोजल, तुमचं thesis तुम्हाला तयार करावं लागणार आहे. Remember that. So first you go and ask, because while you are preparing your synopsis, this should be this guideline should be properly followed. Otherwise, because of your technically your proposal is not sound, it will be termed as it will not be sound. That's why it will be rejected or ask you to revise. So for sanctioning your research topic in the first RRC meeting, you have to carefully follow the style of writing. Remember that followed by in respective subject. प्रत्येक विषयानुरूप ही गाईडलाईन वेगवेगळी आहे, त्यामुळे तुम्ही त्यानुसार तुम्ही ती गाईडलाईन फॉलो करणं गरजेचं आहे. See, if you have confusion guideline, so you have to follow, then you should go sorry, not Vivek Shindu. You have to go on this website, Show the Sindhu. Remember that. So where you will get the abstract of our university, those students who are their proposal is sanctioned, their topic is final, and they are doing the research. So to avoid the duplication in your respective subject or sub topic, you have to go and follow the search the your research proposal already sanctioned in respective subject in this website. It is called as the Show the Sindhu. And those researches which is completed and awarded doctoral degree, that you will find on Show the Ganga. And I think you all are familiar with all these words, so I will not go into the detail of Shodh Sindhu and Shodh Ganga. But before writing your proposal, you have to follow, you have to go and search research topic and pattern of proposal on this website. Remember that. Then we will come to page setup. So everybody know the page should be A4 bond paper. So for that, before starting any work, you have to set your page. Remember that. So on the left hand side, the margin should be of 1.5 inch. Remember that the margin should be 1.5 inch on the left side. Means left side of your own left side. Remember that, where we bind our all pages in a one bundle. So and other remaining 3 sides. Sides of the page. Remember, 1 inch you have to, there should, remember, left side 1.5 and all remaining 3 side 1 inch. This guideline is for whom? Those who are printing printing thesis on the single side of the page. Remember that. Because when you give it for binding, so the binding people, they will cut the pages. So and A4 size, your page size will be reduced. And if you didn't keep this much of space, then there is chance to cut some of the words, and such kind of thesis will not be accepted by the university. Remember that. Once again, you have to reprint it and rebind it. If you didn't keep this space before printing on the paper, remember that. So those who are printing on the both sides, then you have to keep right hand space in a such a way that it should not, the paper, the typed line should not be go inside the binding. Remember that. So all line should be visible, properly visible. Remember that. You have generally seen that in your library, some of the old books is given for the binding purpose, and then you see once again some of the words are unreadable because while cutting, some lines are went into the binding space. So that's why we could not able to see it. So this should not be happens. So I think this much is enough for page setup. If you have any query, then we will address it at the end of the lecture. So if you have any question or queries, we will take it at the end. Now we'll come to the front page. So this is the front page. If a new guideline, will display it, then the changes you have to make the change accordingly in your front page. Remember that. So it was for older people, those who are registered before 2020, but till date the appendices has not given by the university. So you may follow this pattern of front page. So on the front page, this is the title of the problem. Means whatever the research statement of the problem, it will be put on the top side of the page. Remember that. Then there is a second thing. Second, after putting the title, you have to give some space here. Then you have to put what you are submitting to the university. Either you are submitting to research proposal, a synopsis, abstract, or a thesis or dissertation. What you are submitting, that should be mentioned here. To whom you are submitting? To whom is the university? Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded. And for which degree? Which degree? For Doctor of Philosophy. But that is not the enough thing. Remember that. Only the, for which means you are submitting it for the Doctor of Philosophy. But it is for the partial fulfillment of Doctor of Philosophy. This word should be mentioned there, because your thesis carries only 100 marks, but more than that marks carried to your coursework. Remember that, internal submission. So it should be the partial fulfillment of the PhD doctoral degree, award of doctoral degree. Then name of the researcher. Then name of the guide, place of the research, and month and year of the submission. This point should be covered on the front page. If you go to, if you see any university thesis front page, you will see the same pattern. There you might be, you will see the logo also here. But if that binding person has logo, then you can put it, but the mandatory thing. But you have to, you will see these are the minimum information that should be put on the front page, and you will see same pattern or same points all over the universities of all the universities of the India. But their numbering or their presentation style might be the different, but the point will remain same. So now we'll come to the title of the research proposal. So you will see here, there is one title is given: Development of School Satisfaction Program for Adolescents and its Effectiveness. So this pattern is presented in a left alignment. This pattern, if you will see, this red color, same title, it is presented in a right alignment pattern. You will see the third, it is a center alignment pattern, whereas fourth also it is a center alignment pattern 4. So these are the 4 titles. There might be more variations, but for example, I have taken these 4 presentation style. So which will be the perfect or technically perfect presentation style of a title? So without going into detail, I will directly come to the correct style. That this style is not a correct style. This is also not correct style. This is also not correct style. This central alignment, this style of presentation of research, statement of research proposal or title of research proposal is technically perfect pattern. Remember that. So I want to tell you that everything is logically whatever the provision made in the thesis, it is a scientific work. Even though you are doing in the languages or in the other science subject, all the work is a scientific work. You have to put everything scientifically, because if you are ignore the such thing, then people, when you will go for the interview for higher post and you are Jesus, your strong point, and they will see the title, they will say that you lack basic information about the research, even though you are awarded with doctoral degree or postdoctoral degree. Remember that everything is there. It has a logic. It has a reason. It has a constructive base. Remember that in the thesis or in thesis or any process of doing the research work. Remember that. तुम्हाला हे सांगू इच्छितो का thesis ज्यावेळेस तुम्ही लिहितात त्यावेळेस सगळं तर्कदिष्टिक आहे, लॉजिकल आहे, हे लक्षात ठेवा. त्याला बेस आहे आणि त्याचे अर्थ पण आहेत आणि या सगळ्याला धरून तुमचं सादरीकरण असलं पाहिजे. हे जर का सादरीकरण तुमचं असलं नाही तरी तुम्ही म्हटलं का व माझा रिसर्च हा स्ट्रॉंग पॉइंट आहे, पण तुमचा जो परीक्षक आहे, जो तुमची मुलाखत घेणार आहे उच्च पदासाठी, तर तो समजेल का तुम्हाला बेसिक ज्ञान नाही, जरी तुमच्याकडे डॉक्टरेट किंवा पोस्ट डॉक्टरल डिग्री असली तरी. हे लक्षात ठेवा. तर त्यामुळे तुम्ही हे लक्षात ठेवलं पाहिजे का सगळं प्रेझेंटेशन हे लॉजिकलीच असलं पाहिजे. त्याला पुढे त्याचे टेक्निकल कसं होतं, तुम्ही कॉम्पिटेटिव्ह वर्ल्ड मध्ये किंवा अग्रेसिव्ह खूप कमी जण त्या फील्ड मध्ये जातात. कोणी कॉलेजवर जाईल, कोणी किंवा पीएचडीचा इन्क्रिमेंट, असोसिएट प्रोफेसर किंवा एक लिमिटेड तुम्हाला त्याचा फायदा असतो आणि तो फायदा असल्यामुळे ते कॉम्प्लिकेशन तुमच्याशी येत नाही किंवा तुम्हाला टच करत नाही आणि ते जनरली खूप लोकांनाही या गोष्टी माहीत नसतात. लिगॅलिटी ज्या असतात याच्यामध्ये in the doing the research work, but the most of the students, they are from the foreign students. Some of the students are from the out of the state, so they might face the problem in their future career. Then you will be suffer a lot. Remember that. So before submitting the thesis, you have to take care of all these things. Remember that. And you will see this pattern of presentation of the title is called as inverted pyramid pattern. हा जो पॅटर्न आहे तुमचं टायटल, संशोधनाचं शीर्षक सादरीकरणाचं, त्याला म्हटले जातं इन्व्हर्टेड पिरॅमिड टायटल. रिमेंबर, सगळ्यांनी हे लक्षात ठेवलं पाहिजे आणि असंच याचं सादरीकरण होणं अत्यंत आवश्यक आहे. इट इज मॅन्डेटरी टू प्रेझेंट युअर टायटल inverted pyramid style. So this is the inverted pyramid. Remember that. And when you put your title, the most important information you have to put on the top side, and whereas the least information you have to put at the end of the least information at the end of the inverted pyramid, downside of the inverted pyramid. This is the in general pattern of presentation of your title. Remember that. तुमची जी महत्वाच्या ज्या गोष्टी आहेत तुमच्या संशोधनाच्या ह्या पहिल्या लाईन मध्ये असल्या पाहिजेत. इन्व्हर्टेड पिरॅमिडची जी सर्वात लांब जी ओळ असणार आहे ती असली पाहिजेत आणि कमी इन्फॉर्मेशन, जी लिस्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन आहे ती ही तुमची कॉर्नरच्या साईडला इथे असणं गरजेचं आहे. रिमेंबर दॅट. सो इन अ शॉर्ट साइट people will understand what you want to study, what you have studied. Either you have correlated 3 variables, 2 variables, many variables. Either you have developed the package, you have done, you have come up with some product, anything that it should be highlighted in the first line of the title, and it should be the longer line than the remaining other lines of your title. Remember that. So this is the inverted pyramid. And other meaning of why you have to put, because this will be the point. So there are many scientific logical connectivity is for the presentation of inverted pyramid. Remember that. So there should not be any ambiguity in your result. Remember that. Means why inverted pyramid? There is no any ambiguity. There is no scope for any confusion. There is no pseudo-affected result put in your thesis. This inverted pyramid is meaning a lot like this. Remember that. So that's why you have to put your title in inverted pyramid shape, and that means that your thesis is ambiguity free thesis. Remember that there is no confusion, there is no any shadow effect in your result. Remember that. So there is no what we'll say halo effect also. It is away from your thesis result, is away from the halo effect. Remember that. So you have to put your title in inverted pyramid shape. This is the second point. So we are what, whom. Now we are come to next side. So the line should be like this. A research proposal. What you are submitting to the university? A research proposal. If you are submitting synopsis, then a research synopsis. If you are submitting a thesis, a thesis. So the word will change accordingly, according to your presentation. Remember what you are going to submit it to the university. The line should be like this only. A proposal submitted to whom? Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded. So you have to put the name of the university in full. Some student put name SRTM University, Nanded. Some SRTM Nanded. This is the highly you have there is highly scope of negligence that you have given scope for it. So don't write like short forms. You write in full form only. Remember that. Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded. This word is more important for the fulfillment. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Subject Education under the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies, that you must be put in the thesis. Just a minute, I will once again share the fulfillment of degree of Doctor of remember. Just a minute. Now, sound correct. A research proposal submitted to the Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded for the partial fulfillment. It is more important because if you neglect it for the award of Doctor, once again, for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for the award of degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the subject education under the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies. This likewise your second point should be presented. Remember that, because you must mention the subject and you must mention the faculty, because most of the students I saw that they didn't know even because they rely upon their typists. They said that Faculty of Science, Faculty of Commerce, Faculty of Education, Arts. Likewise, they typed instead of the correct faculty. So in the first my lecture, I have given a quiz. So in which I have found that more than 70% didn't know the correct name of the faculty. So you have to take care and you have to put the correct name of the faculty. हे लक्षात ठेवा. आता इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी स्टडीचं मराठी ट्रान्सलेशन काय आहे? आंतरशाखीय विद्या अभ्यास विद्याशाखा असं त्याचं आहे. तर हे करेक्ट नामकरण आहे इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी स्टडीचं. दोज हु आर रायटिंग इन मराठी, they should go and refer the correct translation of these English words. Remember that. And this is the mandatory thing, because many times it has found that there are we work in the administration, we face lot of problems that arises at student end, research scholar end. Remember that. Means one of the university teacher is those who have awarded degree from our university, and when he got the higher post, then his competitor went in the court and they objected his research work. Remember that. And then naturally the higher court issued the notice to the university about the submission on these issues raised by the petitioner. So so that time such legalities, if something is happened, then it is you and your negligence that help them to create legal issue against you. Remember that. कायदा काय असतो, एखादा याच्यामध्ये काही त्रुटी असतात आणि या त्रुटीमध्ये जर का तुम्ही एखादी चुकीची इथं फॅकल्टी टाकली, तुम्हाला डिग्री मिळाली आणि त्यांनी सांगितलं का ही विद्याशाखा अस्तित्वातच नाहीये आणि याला डिग्री मिळाली, त्याच्यामुळे याची डिग्री ही ग्राह्य नाहीये. ऍज पर द युनिव्हर्सिटी पब्लिक युनिव्हर्सिटी ऍक्ट 2016. रिमेंबर, महाराष्ट्र पब्लिक युनिव्हर्सिटी ऍक्ट नुसार ती व्हॅलिड नाहीये, तर ती तिथं व्हॅलिडच होणार आहे, कारण ती त्याच्या फॅकल्टीमध्ये तुम्हीच लिहिलेलं आहे, not university has mentioned it. So there is a lot of such thing happen. People went against such kind of thing, and unnecessarily it will be headache for you, for the university, as well as it will be financially loss for us, and we may lose our higher opportunity. Remember that. That's why you should be legally perfect in the presentation of the thesis. Then next point is the name of the researcher or name of the guide. Generally, I have seen that if most of the students, they write Professor Chandrakant Baviskar. He is a student. Student cannot be a professor. Remember that. Before awarding doctoral degree, nobody become a professor. Remember that. Minimum requirement is a doctoral degree. And before putting without having doctoral degree, give suffix you as a professor, it is a wrong thing. Remember that. Highly wrong thing. It is against the ethics. कोणीही नावासमोर प्राध्यापक नावायचं नाही, हे remember. Even do not put Sri, Srimati, Miss, nothing you have to put. You are the researcher. Remember that. तुम्ही संशोधक आहात. Remember that. So your name should be printed, typed as printed it on your 10th certificate. Remember that. Somebody use initial CR Baviskar. This is also wrong thing. You have to put your full name. Remember that. You have to put your full name as it printed on your 10th certificate. Remember that. Do not put any initials. Remember that. Do not put initial. Do not write any designation, qualification, and address. Remember that. You are a researcher. Remember that. Not put any somebody researcher so and so, assistant professor, this and this college and this. Nothing. It is nothing to do with your PhD. Remember that. You are working as assistant professor. Even same thing applies for the guide. Remember that. Guide lahi तीच गोष्ट हे होती. Not put his designation, qualification, address, nothing. Remember that. You directly put his name. And I will slightly deviate from the interactive nature of the researcher and guide, because generally I have seen that student, even after completing their research, they didn't know who are they. Are you student? No, you are not a student. You are a researcher. Whether your guide is your teacher? No, your guide is not a teacher. He is a supervisor or research guide. Remember that. So most of the students they have understanding about this thing. You are the researcher, you are not a student. Your guide is not a teacher. Your guide is a supervisor, your guide is a research guide, your guide is your philosopher. Nothing that, but your relationship is not a student-teacher relationship. Remember that. हे लक्षात ठेवा, तुम्ही संशोधक विद्यार्थी आहात. तुमचा गाईड हा संशोधक मार्गदर्शक आहे, तो निरीक्षक आहे. हे लक्षात ठेवा. हो, तुमचा फिलॉसॉफर आहे, पण तो तुमचा टीचर नाही, तुम्ही त्याचे विद्यार्थी पण नाही. Remember that. You have to understand that this relation is a researcher and guide relationship. Remember that. It should not be a teacher comes in the class, teaches, student learn and go, whatever the thing assignment is given by the teacher, they go to home, complete it, show in the next week. But here there is not such kind of relation. Teacher will not ask you to come to my class. I will not ask never ask my student or research students to come in the class and sit and learn whatever I am going to teach to the other students also. So there is not taught or learn thing is happening in the teacher-student relation. Researcher and guide relationship. This is the first thing. Second thing, you have to create rapport with your guide. Remember that, because in this journey of doing research, there should be a positive relationship between researcher and guide. Remember that. तुमचे संबंध गाईड आणि संशोधक म्हणून एक पॉझिटिव्ह एक ऑप्टिमिस्टिक संबंध असले पाहिजेत. एक चांगला रॅपो तुम्ही तुमच्या गाईडशी तयार केला गेला पाहिजे. ही माइट बी युअर फ्रेंड, रिमेंबर दॅट, नॉट अ टीचर. पण तुम्ही तुमचा एक रॅपो तयार केला पाहिजे. तुम्हाला, कारण तुमची वेवलेंथ जर का जुळली, इफ युअर वेवलेंथ इज नॉट मॅच with the guide, then it is highly difficult to complete your research. Remember that. It is highly difficult. So, just a minute. That's why you remember that your wavelength should be matched. You have to adjust it. So otherwise it will be difficult for you to do the research without matching your wavelength with the your guide, because it has its own personality. Remember that. Every guide has its own personality and his own mode of guiding the students. Remember that. So you have to match yourself with the guide's mode of guidance and his personality. Sorry, So you have to create a rapport. You have to match your wavelength with your guide, Otherwise, if you think that your wavelength is not matching because the topic you are interested and the guide is not interested, it happens that sometimes the field guide is working in a different field and students showing interest in a different thing, field for doing the research work. Then there is a provision of change of guide. Remember, so you can mutually change your guide and you transfer and request for the another guide. This is the first thing. Remember that student you have choice, but such a thing you have to initially when you are interacting with the guide, you should go and understand, try to create the rapport. Remember that if he is not responding, then why you are instituting him to do the guidance to you? So it will have negative impacts in your relationship, and actually it may affects your personal life also. Remember that. So that's why you have to take care that your wavelength should be matched. You do not think that my wavelength should Miss guide should be match his wavelength with my wavelength. No, you have to match your wavelength with the guide wavelength. Remember that. So that is the first thing. Second thing, if the relationship between researcher and guide, if you see that it should not be a what we said that it is a there are complications, then you must leave that guide and you request for the another guide. This is the one thing. Second thing, what I have seen that most of the guide, they complained with when we discuss among the about the research student, we said no, this is very hard-working student. He is very sincere student. And another somebody say that, sir, you are lucky, you have got good student. Then what happened when we asked them? Sir, the student, even he or she did not wish him on Teachers' Day or other some occasions. Remember that. So as what I want to say that, so because why this happened, because you remain de-linked with the guide. Remember that. And you have to keep in regular contact with the guide, and that then and then your research will be completed with a full zeal. Remember that, with a full spirit and with full motivation. Remember that. Otherwise, your span will naturally increase. And doing PhD work has definitely affect your personal life, your family life, your work culture also. Remember that. Those who are married, unmarried, everything is affected, because doing PhD is not doing a MPhil or PG course. Remember that. You have to work, you have to put your time, you have to put your hard work, you have to spare more time than regularly you are sparing time for your work or family. Remember that. You have to sacrifice most of that. If you have good planning in your research, then you may complete your PhD within 3 years. Remember that. That is a time span. But I have seen that nearly 70–80% students, they didn't complete PhD within 5 years. Remember that. Within 70–80%, nearly 40–50% student has to re-register after 7 years as per old regulation. But now you have to complete PhD at any cost within 6 years. Otherwise, your registration will cancel. Remember that. तुम्हाला कोणत्याही परिस्थितीत आता 6 वर्षाच्या आत PhD सबमिट करावाच लागेल, अन्यथा तुमची नोंदणी ही रद्द होईल, 200% रद्द होईल. परत तुम्हाला PhD करावं लागेल आणि 3 वर्षानंतर तुम्हाला PhD अवॉर्ड होईल. Remember that. This is the first thing. म्हणून तुमचं संशोधक आणि मार्गदर्शक यांचा एक चांगला रॅपो तयार झाला पाहिजे. आणि तुम्हाला you must know that what should I do and what should not I do. म्हणजे मी काय कोणत्या गोष्टीला रिस्पॉन्स दिला पाहिजे आणि कोणत्या गोष्टीला गाईडचा रिस्पॉन्स दिला नाही पाहिजे. That you you are the judges of this relationship, because it is a temporary relationship and that should be properly executed till the award of the degree. Remember that. म्हणून हे सर्व तुम्ही विचारात आणि लक्षात घेऊनच हे सगळ्या गोष्टी केल्या पाहिजेत. I have seen that most of the students, they come to the guide after 6 months to take the signature on 6 monthly report. After 6 months, they never show the face to the guide. This should not be happen. This should not be happen from your part. So regularly you contact with the guide, and means you have to create such a rapport that anytime you should you have such a confidence that if anytime I will call my guide, he will positively respond to me. Remember that. You have to create a such kind of a rapport. So there are so many things to say in this relationship, but I will not go into further detail. But you have to keep in mind that, because before, see, I have seen that so many people, they are now changing their guide. So you should also judge the guide, whether it is suitable guide for you. If yes, so don't forget about his designation, his fame, his research work. If it is not suitable for you, let's choose another guide. Remember that there is nothing difficult, nothing. It is a very simple, and it's your own right. But after struggling for 3, 4, 5 years, and you will go for change of the guide, then definitely you have suffered a lot, and it will create a lot of problematic situation in future future period. Because after if you change the guide, after getting the new guide, you cannot submit your thesis within 1 year. So more than 2 years, more than 1 year span is ultimately extended, and lot of other things also happens in that extension. So you have to keep it, and you have to pre-think it while doing this thing. And remember that change of guide is done after 3 years, every 3 months, sorry. So research and recognition committee always conduct its meeting after a gap of 3 months. Every year there were 4 meetings of RRC. Remember that. Only RAC, research allocation, where we allowed guide to, it will be during the entire tenure of for the PET examination. Remember that. So you can do work, can change anything during this, even your title also. Next point is a place of research and month. As per approval given by the university, which is your research center, that you have to put. If School of Educational Sciences, you have to write on the first line, and under that line you have to write Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University. This is your place. If it is a Yashwant College, Nanded, People's College Nanded, Dayanand College Nanded, likewise. So whatever your approved research center, that you have to put. Because what happened? Because if one guide, you have allotted a guide. If you got, for example, if you got a college where he has a research center, so generally you put the name of that research center. But when he transferred, that guide is transferred to another college, that college is affiliated to another research center, then your research center might be changed. You have to communicate with the guide. If guide has given application that because I was earlier in Nanded and working in this college, my research center was this, but now I have transferred to the Parvani, and my research center, it is difficult to come to research center. Therefore, please change my research center from A to Z. So then naturally your research center will change. Remember that. So you have to take care of this. As per the approval given by the university, you have to put the name of the research center. And in the last, you have to write month, comma, and year of the submission. Means if you are submitting your research proposal in the month of December, then December, comma, 2021. If you are submitting in the month of January, then January, comma, 2022. Remember that. Accordingly, you have to write the this is all about the front page of your research proposal, synopsis, and the thesis. So shall we go ahead to next thing? So in the proposal, after the front page, so I am presenting my slides according to APA style and according to accepted form by School of Educational Sciences and mostly School of Social Sciences. Remember that. But the things are more or less same, which is accepted in other format. Remember that. After the front page, you have to give the introduction of your research. So your introduction part should be precise one. Remember, not more than 2 to 3 pages, or not short within 1 page. Remember that. Properly, you have to introduce your chapter, your research. Remember that. It should be in your own words. Remember, next thing is that it should be on. तुमचं प्रस्तावना ही संक्षिप्त स्वरूपात असली पाहिजे आणि ती तुमच्या शब्दामध्येच असली पाहिजे, हे लक्षात ठेवा. बट when I am talking about the own word, there should not be use of fancy words. Remember that. You do not show that how much English you know or how much that respective language you know. Do not use any fancy word. अलंकारिक word वापरायचे नाहीत. Remember that. मनी, quotations वगैरे असं काही वापरायचं नसतं. Remember that. Because these are the logical thought that is appealed by you or other person, but it might be illogical for me. Remember that. So do not use such kind of a quotation, phrases, money, वाक्प्रचार, सुविचार असं काही वापरायचं नाही. हे लक्षात ठेवा. Whatever the content that you are putting in the introduction, maximum use of research related to the variables. म्हणजे तुमच्या टायटल मध्ये जे चल आहेत त्या चलाशी, त्या शब्दांशी संबंधित जे संशोधन झालेले आहेत त्या संबंधाने तुमच्या शब्दामध्ये इंट्रोडक्शन मांडणी केली गेली पाहिजे. Whatever the title, the words contained in the title, they some are the words, some are the variable. So related to this variable, and there are many researches that has already done in the past related to variable. You have to draw the researches. You have to find out this research paper. From that, you have to inculcate 4 or 5 researches, and you have to prepare one paragraph related to your research proposal. Remember that. So you have to write in own word. Do not copy anything, because you have to think of plagiarism. Remember that. You do not put copy paste from other sources. You read a paragraph, read a paper, make a gist of it, make a 1 or 2 line, 1 line result, then compare with the other research, 3rd research, 4th research. You try to find its similarity, differences in the research outcome, and then you try to correlate with your own variable and what type of research that you want to conduct. Accordingly, you have to divert the past researchers into your own research, new research stream. Remember that. म्हणून तुम्हाला जुने काही गोष्ट आहे सगळं मांडत असताना तुम्हाला ते जुने संशोधनाला धरून तुम्हाला तुमच्या संशोधनाची कास धरायची, त्याची पायवाट तुम्हाला तयार करायची आहे. तर हे 2-3 पानामध्येच हे पाहिजे, जास्त मोठंही असता कामा नये. तर इंट्रोडक्शन हे प्रिसाइज असलं पाहिजे. ओन वर्ड मध्ये असलं पाहिजे, स्वतःच्या शब्दात असलं पाहिजे आणि हे संशोधनांवरच आधारित असलं
सर एकच मिनिट, स्लाइड चेंज होत नाहीये तुमची, एकच स्लाइड दिसत आहे तेव्हापासून.
कोणती स्लाइड आता?
सर ती ह्याची आहे बघा, ते काय म्हणतात, रिसर्च प्रपोजल सबमिटेड टू स्वामी, तेच दाखवत आहे.
अरे बापरे, मी तर किती पुढे गेलो.
मला वाटलं तेच कंटिन्यू करतायत म्हणून मी पण सांगितलं नाही तुम्हाला.
नाही नाही नाही, अरे रे, मी मला आता मी इथे दिसतंय का आता?
नाही, सेम स्लाइड यायला लागली सर तीच.
आता
गावात राहायचं म्हणलं
नाही सर.
एकच मिनिट.
घ्यावं लागते, नाही घेतलं तर ते
आता
बरोबर माणसं पाठवत वाटणार ते.
सर ह्याच्यामध्ये नाहीये, मोड मध्ये नाहीये,
नाही नाही,
प्रेझेंटेशन मोड मध्ये नाहीये, त्याच्यामुळे तीच स्लाइड दिसते.
मी
नंबरची
काय
स्लाइड
करतो,
दिसते
बंद
सर.
करतो. हा, जस्ट मिनिट, परत एकदा
Yes, sir.
उघडतो मी. दिसते स्लाइड आता, रिसर्च प्रपोजल फ्रंट पेजची स्लाइड.
हो सर, फ्रंट पेज दिसत आहे.
एकच मिनिट, आता स्लाइड शो झाला. स्लाइड शो दिसतोय? दिसते का आता? दिसते?
पहिली स्लाइड दिसत आहे सर रिसर्च प्रपोजलची.
अरे रे रे,
हो, पहिली स्लाइड म्हणजे ते ह्याच्यामध्ये एडिट मोड मध्ये आहे सर.
वाटलं तर मग
पुढची स्लाइड दिसते का आता? पुढची स्लाइड दिसते? चालू आहे. दिसते का आता? पुढची इंट्रोडक्शनची स्लाइड दिसते का? हॅलो हॅलो, आवाज येत नाही मला कुणाचा.
हो सर, दिसत आहे आता.
हा, स्लाइड शो मध्ये काय दिसतंय तुम्हाला? स्लाइड शो मध्ये काय दिसतंय तुम्हाला?
इंट्रोडक्शन.
पुढची स्लाइड नाही दिसत आहे ना?
इंट्रोडक्शन दिसत आहे सर.
पुढची स्लाइड नाही दिसत आहे ना? दिसतंय इंट्रोडक्शन आता? इंट्रोडक्शन आता?
येस सर.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. So we have finished introduction part. So we'll go to the next part. Dowry Sanjeevani. Can you slide need of the research?
Yes sir.
Okay. I will finish within half an hour, and remaining 15 minutes we will discuss your queries and your questions. Remember. So after introduction of the topic, you have to express the need of the research in context with your subject, your field. Remember that. What is the need of the research in today's context or futuristic point of view? Remember that. So that need you have to present in either bullet form or in a descriptive form. Remember that. तुमच्या संशोधनाची काय गरज आहे, समाजाला त्याचा काय फायदा होऊ शकतो. इट शुड बी इन फ्युचरिस्टिक फॉर्म. रिमेंबर दॅट. तर ती गरज त्या अनुषंगाने तुम्हाला तिथं नमूद करायची आहे. आणि ती नमूद करताना यू हॅव टू कीप इन माइंड द ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह ऑफ युअर रिसर्च. रिमेंबर दॅट. बिकॉज द need is linked to with your objective. Remember that. The importance of the research. संशोधनाचे महत्व means if this need is fulfilled, what the benefit will get the student or society or patient, whatever the type of the research. If it is from the research is of medical field, then it will related to the patient. If it is a research is related to the school student, then its benefits is related to the school students. If it is related to the society, then ultimately the benefits are related to the society. So need and importance are complementary to each other. संशोधनाची गरज आणि संशोधनाचे महत्व हे एका नाण्याच्या दोन बाजू आहेत. जी गरज आहे ही संशोधनाची गरज आहे आणि ही गरज पूर्ण झाली तर हे फायदे होतील. हे संशोधनाच्या महत्वामध्ये तुम्हाला नमूद करावेच लागतील, हे लक्षात ठेवा. आणि हे करत असताना तुम्हाला उद्दिष्ट हे तुमच्या दृष्टिक्षेपामध्ये ठेवावं लागणार आहे, तुमच्या समोर ठेवावं लागणार आहे. What will be the possible benefits of research outcome? You have to put in the futuristic words. Should be based on need of the research. These are the two important things, because when your research proposal will assess these two things will be examination, that committee, that what will, if it is a useless research, then they will reject your proposal. You think it is good research, but the committee think it is a useless research, then your research topic will be directly rejected. Or it might be happen that they will ask you to change the topic. Remember that. But when you are, if you are trying to accept the changes, then you should be confident enough that the changes will be properly executed in your research. Remember that. हे लक्षात ठेवा. संशोधनाचं टायटल ज्यावेळेस तिथं सादर केलं जातं, इन जनरल असं होतं का, असं करा तसं करा, हा रिसर्च मध्ये असा बदल केला तर चालू शकतो, हे होऊ शकतं, तर यू हॅव टू डिफेंड इट. काय होतं का, तुम्ही तिथल्या प्रेशर मध्ये ते ऍक्सेप्ट करून टाकतात आणि नंतर केल्यानंतर एखाद्या 2 वर्षांनी कळतं का हे संशोधन होऊ शकत नाही. म्हणजे आमच्याकडे एक केस अशी झालेली आहे का, that candidate was try to do research on constructivism, but we as a committee found that it's already done. So whatever the research, it is done in other places, and he tried to done within the Marathwada. So the committee thought that the same result will arise, because the earlier research has done the vast research, what sample he has taken. So so there is nothing, a new thing will come up. So they asked him to revise it. But in that discussion, he go outside, discuss with the guy, come up with the topic that instead of constructivist teaching methods, he come up with the constructivist learning methods. The now title has changed for constructivist teaching method to constructivist learning methods. अलग लक्षात. ज्ञान संरचनावादी अध्यापन पद्धती ऐवजी टायटल काय बदललं, ज्ञान संरचनावादी अध्ययन पद्धती. And after doing the working on the research, after 4 years, he realized that there is nothing exists in the world like a constructivist learning method. 4 वर्षानंतर हे लक्षात आलं का ज्ञान रचनावादी अध्ययन पद्धती अस्तित्वातच नाहीये. कमिटीला वाटलं हा याचा नॉवेल रिसर्च आहे. कमिटी थॉट दॅट ही इज डुइंग अ नॉवेल रिसर्च बिकॉज इट वॉज नॉट एक्झिस्ट. बट आफ्टर फाउंड दॅट ही इज इनकॅपेबल ऑफ डुइंग or finding such kind of new innovative learning methods which is really based on constructivism. So after gap of 4 years, he has to change the topic. Then After change the topic, then your date of allocation means registered new topic will be changed. So from that he has to continue research for 3 years, minimum 3 years. So that's why if the committee is saying some changes or advising you, you and your guide should be damn confident that these accepted changes should be properly executed in your research. Otherwise, it will be a great trouble for your future research, or might be you end up with not doing PhD. You will cancel your registration. So you have to think in this way, that need and importance and other things should be properly correlated, and you are confident that your direct title should be sanctioned by the committee. But for that, that title should be properly supported with the past researches. Remember that. जुन्या संशोधनांच्या बेसवरच तुम्ही तुमचा नवीन टॉपिक निवडला गेला पाहिजेत, आणि तो टॉपिकच तुम्हाला सँक्शन होईल याकडे तुमचा कटाक्ष असला पाहिजे. So now we'll come to the next slide. It is the slide title is statement of the problem. So the first point is research title versus statement of the problem. Remember that. So in these are the two different things. Remember that. These are not one and the same, but it will govern by the ordinance of respective universities. Remember that. ज्या त्या विद्यापीठाच्या ऑर्डिनन्स नुसार याच्यामध्ये बदल होतो. So whatever you may come from the different universities, your research or your colleague or friend, they are doing research in the same subject in other university. So do not confuse yourself. Nobody is incorrect. Both are correct at their places. Remember that. सगळे जण ज्याच्या त्याच्या ठिकाणी करेक्ट आहे, हा चुकीचं आहे, ही युनिव्हर्सिटी चुकीचं आहे, ही बरोबर आहे, असं काही त्यात नसतं. युनिव्हर्सिटीमध्ये रिसर्च टायटल अँड स्टेटमेंट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लेम आर डिफरंट. रिमेंबर दॅट. त्याच्यामध्ये मिनिंग आहे. बट इन आवर युनिव्हर्सिटी पाटील पंढरीनाथ तुम्ही काही लिहिण्याचा प्रयत्न करू नका.
रेषा मारू नका. पाटील पंढरीनाथ, स्क्रीनवर रेष दिसत आहे तुमची.
So research title in our university, research title and statement of the problem, we put it has same thing. Yes, same thing you have to put up. Remember that. But in other university there might be different. Remember that. Researcher never change a single letter without the permission of the university authority. Remember that. In your title, if you want to changes, you have to approach to the research and recognition committee through your guide. Remember that. You on your own cannot change even comma also. If because sometime when you will, after in the month of January, you may get confirmation letter. So there might be a typographical mistakes in your title. So there is a proper provision process to change, make the correction. Otherwise, before receiving the approval letter, you make the necessary changes. Otherwise, after you received it, then if you want to change something in your title, even comma, your grammatical things, you have to approach to the research and recognition committee. Otherwise, your thesis will not be accepted by the postgraduate section of this university. Remember that. But in our university, in new ordinance, we have make it provision that you can change your title even at the end of the before submission also. Remember that. because we have realized that if you start your research from one end, and you have to as per your proposal guideline, from A point you have to reach to B point, but doing your research work you land up to something C point in another thing, then that C point result are not correlated with your title. So then it is highly difficult for the researcher. It is a mismatching. So according to research outcome, you have right to change in your title. But for that, there is a procedure, and through that procedure, you have to go and you can even able to change the title of your thesis. Remember that. Assumption. Where undertaken research stand in today's context is the assumption. Assumption is a shrewd guess. It is not a shrewd guess. Assumptions are based on past outcome of the past researches. Remember that. Assumptions are based on outcome of past researches. So you have to, what means in assumptions, you have to point out that my research means you have gone through the past researches, and from past researches you have to show that the research in this field has come to this point, and I am dragging that point ahead through my research. So you have to dead end, means the end of the research you have to point out, and you have to drag that dead end through your research. म्हणजे तुम्ही भूतकाळामध्ये जे संशोधन झालेले आहेत ते संशोधन इथपर्यंत येऊन पोहोचलेले आहेत, याच्या पुढचं संशोधन तुम्हाला करायचंय, तुम्हाला प्रूव्ह करायचं का हे एवढं झालेलं आहे त्याच्यामुळे ते करायचं नाही, पण हे संशोधन याच्यामध्ये लॅकुन आहे किंवा हे करणं आवश्यक आहे, तर हे तुम्हाला प्रूव्ह करायचं आहे आणि ऍझम्पशन मधून तुम्ही ते प्रूव्ह करू शकता. हायपोथेसिस आहेत, तर त्यानंतर तुमच्या ऑब्जेक्टिव्हवर तुम्हाला हायपोथेसिस मांडणं गरजेचं आहे. डेफिनेशन्स असतात, ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह याच्यात असतात. ऑब्जेक्टिव्हची स्लाइड मिस झाली इथून याच्यातून, तर तुम्हाला तुमच्या टायटलच्या डेफिनेशन 3 प्रकारचे डेफिनेशन्स असतात. सायन्स नॉमिनल डेफिनेशन ऑफ द वर्ड, कन्सेप्च्युअल डेफिनेशन अँड ऑपरेशनल डेफिनेशन. तुम्हाला कोणीही विचारेल व्हॉट इज मीन बाय मिल्क in a science, what will the nominal definition is different, conceptual definition is different, and even operational definition is also different. Means as per your research, milk is a medicine, remember that, or milk is a chemical for you as per the operational definition. So operational definition is based on your research, what do you want to mean it. So for example, duster is a thing that used for cleaning the blackboard, remember, but as per my operational definition, it might be the instrument of making a discipline in the classroom. वर्गामध्ये शिस्त निर्माण करण्यासाठी वापरण्यात आलेले एक साधन म्हणजे डस्टर असू शकतं माझ्या ऑपरेशनल किंवा कार्यात्मक डेफिनेशन नुसार. पण नॉमिनल कन्सेप्च्युअल डेफिनेशन कसं म्हणते, हे फलक पुसण्याचं एक साधन आहे. रिमेंबर दॅट. सो ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह स्टेटमेंट नंतर ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह असतात, आणि ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह शुड बी बेस्ड ऑन ऑल द व्हेरिएबल्स दॅट यू हॅव डिफाइन्ड. रिमेंबर दॅट. अँड assumptions are passed, and based on the objectives you have to put forth the hypothesis. And hypotheses are directly related to your chapter, your statistical computation. There are research hypotheses, null hypotheses, alternative hypotheses. As per the demand of your research, you have to frame the hypothesis, and based on hypothesis you have to prove it, whatever the hypothesis you have put, it is a true or false. Remember that. Then scope and limitations. So scope and limitation, what is the scope of the maximum scope of your research, and what are the limitations, naturally existing thing of your research regarding sample, time, units, variable that you have to put. Then delimitation, it is the most important thing. परिमर्यादा ज्याला मराठीत म्हटलं जातं. The delimitations, what are the, how means the researcher may delimit the problem as per the need of the research, or as per the if it is a financially it will be the burden. This researcher may delimit the his research work, data collection, that everything has to put in the delimit. And the research method, state the name of research method, which research method you are using, and you have to justify the use the research method that you have selected for your research method. Because see, I will see that if you ask to go and bring the vegetable, and you bring the brinjal, but I say that why you do not bring the lettuce finger? Why do you do not bring the potato? Likewise, in general, when thesis is evaluated, this thesis research method, they will say, why do not use ex facto research instead of experimental research? Somebody will like, why you didn't use the mixed research? Why you didn't use the multi-method method? Why didn't you use this? Why didn't you use survey method instead of historical or case study? So generally, these questions are asked during the final viva hours, because see, the research is done by any research method. Remember that. But you have to prove that this is the most important, most eligible research method for conducting my research, and you have to justify it in this. Then the population for social science, for this is the science research where the data is collected from the human being. So you have to state the population. Means if you are doing the research on ZP student of Nanded district, then how many students are studying in ZP school? That is the population of the research. And based on that population, it is highly difficult to go to each and every school and collect the data from each and every student. So we have to draw the sample. And for that drawing the sample, you have to use sampling method. So generally people use carelessly select the sampling method, and it affects your result. Remember that. If you are carelessly selecting the research method, it definitely affects your research outcome. So whatever the research method you are sampling method you are selecting, that should be properly justified by the researcher, and through using this sampling method, researcher should use the select the sample. The tool of the research. There are two types of the. There are the relevant tools or self-made tools. It is like a thermometer. Remember, your tool is the right. Because if you have chosen a thermometer for calculating a temperature, but it is itself a faulty thermometer. Is it give the correct temperature? No, it will not give the correct temperature. Thermometer तुमचं टेम्परेचर मोजण्यासाठीचं तुम्ही घेतलं, पण ते थर्मोमीटर हे त्याचं कॅलिब्रेटेड नसेल, चुकीचं माहिती देत असेल, आणि असं साधन तुम्ही घेतलं तर त्या साधनाद्वारे मिळालेले निष्कर्ष निश्चितच चुकीचे असणार आहे. रिमेंबर दॅट. So either if you are using ready-made tool, you have to test it whether it will be applicable for the sample you have selected. Remember that, because it has been observed that in our education, if you take an intelligent test that is widely used in Europe, and it is widely used it is a famous. That's why you try to use it in in India. Then it will be the faulty method. Remember, you have because what happened in that intelligent test prepared by the Binet. So there is a question: what is your favorite fruit? There are the options: apple, peach, then watermelon and pineapple. Like these are the options. But when same test if we apply in India, so most of the people, student will say their favorite fruit is a mango. Very least student will say the apple, pineapple, because it is not widely available. Remember that. So the student will, naturally the question arise, they will mark it. But according to Binay, the apple is the correct answer. But in our, when we apply to the Indian student, nobody will write the apple. Remember, they will write the another. So the result, even though my favorite fruit is a mango, the correct answer will be the apple, not the mango. Remember that. So the faulty tool will lead to faulty results. Remember that. So you have to take care of this also. Statistical, see, there are the statistic is one of the most crucial thing in the result. How to use high statistic that will help you to draw very good result which will be widely accepted. And as per my experience, student collect the 100% data but only able to calculate 20% of data. Kamble Vijay, only able to calculate only 20% of data, and analysis based on the 20% analysis you got the PhD, or remaining 80% data will remain unnoticed. It will be remain as a data. कांबळे विजय, तुम्हाला काही वेगळं सांगायची गरज आहे का? तर स्टॅटिस्टिकली टूल चांगले वापरले गेले पाहिजे. बट वी हॅव एक्सपिरियन्स दॅट पीपल यूज hired the people for statistical calculations, but always I have seen that the result they drawn from such correct according to your result outcome. Remember, ते काय करतात, ते प्युअरली स्टॅटिस्टिकल पीपल लोक असतात, ते काहीतरी रिझल्ट तुमच्या हाती देऊन टाकतात आणि तुम्ही काहीतरी शोधतात आणि त्याला लॉजिकली काहीतरी तुम्ही मिनिंग देतात आणि तुम्ही रिझल्ट पुट करतात. ते हायली रॉंग असतं. हे लक्षात ठेवा, हे एकदम चुकीचं आहे. कारण आता एक नामांकित विद्यापीठातील एका व्यक्तीकडून आमच्या इथल्या एका विद्यार्थ्याने स्टॅटिस्टिकल कॅल्क्युलेशन करून घेतले. त्याने काय केलं, फ्रॉम वन ऑफ द रिनोन युनिव्हर्सिटी, the statistician was from that university, and one of our student hired him for the statistical computation. And when he was presenting his data in the pre-vivos, he has prepared a package for students, and due to that package, student excel their performance. So according to his data, whatever he put, he got the mean of 8.779. Means when the student were, before undergoing the training, these students were meter distance. More, they were used to take more than 10 seconds. But after going through his training, the mean average of the student was 8.79 seconds. So while analyzing, we asked one question to the student: what is the world record of running 100-meter running? So the package is breaking the world record. All the students, small students, are breaking the record, world record. So such time of thing, and he was so much confident that whatever thing computed and everything was correct. But when He didn't even understand when he asked to answer the world record in 100-meter running. Till then he was ignored. Because what happened, the things are something complicated. He knows that what is the world record, but he didn't think that this package has means the competition has brought up wrong result. He contacted that person. Then he said that I have not my not a single calculation come up with such kind of a result. So even that sir is saying that no, this is the wrong result. So I didn't give you such kind of output. So it is your own responsibility at the end. Your own responsibility to find out, cross check that whatever the result you have drawn, statistical result is correct or not. Remember that. The procedure, how you have done all the research, how you are going to do that, you have to put. Then the timetable, you have to give the span of 3 years from July to next 24 July. Time span you have to do. Then budget, this is also most important thing. You have to give the budget because you must know how much money will required for your PhD. Then you will prepare before submitting the thesis. Because we have seen that at the end, the student may have to pay lakhs of rupee for before submitting the thesis, for the typing, binding, other traveling, xeroxing, publishing paper in Scopus or there are so many things where money is required, and that budget, if it is not with you, then your research will hamper. Ultimately, it will get delayed. So delayed once, so it will get delayed. Ultimately, it will put pressure on you to pay more money in a different way. Remember that. So budget should be calculated in initially, and even within that budget, you should complete your PhD. The reference style is APA, Chicago, MLA, Turabian, where there are IEEE. According to that, put your references. And at the end of the year, there should be name and signature of the guide and researcher. Remember, in the proposal. So this is in general way, this is the research proposal that you have to present to the university after the result outcome. So there are even many things that I have to tell you, but that there is only 15-minute times is remaining. So I will not go into other details. So definitely I will share with Gingine sir. So I will open this session for question answer, but one person ask question at a time, so other will and myself will able to listen it carefully and answer it. So best way I will see that Gurunath Deshmukh, who has raised the hand.
अनम्यूट करा तुमच्या बाजूने.
केलं पण सर तुमच्याकडे येते की नाही आवाज यायला का सर?
हो येतोय
सर बोला.
हा सर माझा प्रश्न असा आहे की आता तुम्ही रिसर्च प्रपोजल बद्दल खूप छान माहिती दिलीत, पण मला असं म्हणायचं की आम्हाला जे सबमिट करायचं ते रिसर्च प्रपोजल करायचं की आम्ही सिनॉप्सिस सबमिट करायचंय सर?
मी तुम्हाला तो डिफरन्स आधीच सांगितला. तुम्हाला रिसर्च संशोधन आराखडा
हो सर.
आणि म्हणजे रिसर्च प्रपोजल म्हणजे संशोधन आराखडा, सिनॉप्सिस म्हणजे संशोधन सारांश. सारांश मध्ये तुमचे रिझल्ट येतात, आउटकम येतात. मराठीत लोक असतील तर उपसंहार वगैरे येतो लँग्वेजेसचा. तर तुम्ही सादर करत आहात ते संशोधन आराखडा, रिसर्च प्रपोजल, नॉट अ सिनॉप्सिस.
थँक्यू सर, थँक्यू.
महेंद्र आल्टे.
अजून कोणाला काही डाऊट आहे का, प्रश्न आहेत का?
हा, हात वर करा म्हणजे आम्ही तुम्हाला अनम्यूट करू.
नारायण अतोटे.
हा नैना अवताडे.
हॅलो.
हा बोला.
सर आता मी असं ऐकलं की बऱ्याच विद्यापीठामध्ये थेसिस हा पाठपोट लिहिला तरी म्हणजे आता पाठपोट लिहायची परवानगी आहे, तर तसं आपल्या विद्यापीठाचे काही वेगळे रूल्स आहे का?
हे बघा, पाठपोत लिहावं असा नियम आहे, पण असं लक्षात आलंय का बाइंडिंग करताना दुसरी जी बॅक साइड जे त्याच्यात ते सगळे लाईन्स निघून जातात त्याच्यामध्ये.
पण सर पण त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही मार्जिनचं जर सांगितलेलं आहे आणि तसं मार्जिन ठेवून जर आपण पाठपोट लिहिला तर तसं अलाउ नाहीये का?
हो अलाउड आहे, मी ते सांगितलं अलाउड आहे, पण ते बाइंडिंग करणं हे विद्यापीठाच्या हातात नाही. तो बाइंडिंग वाल्याने जर का कट करताना त्याच्यात बाइंड झालं ते, तर तुम्हाला थेसिस परत प्रिंट करून परत बाइंड करावा लागतो. तर कसं असतं का, तुम्हाला ती कॉन्फिडन्स असेल, तो कॉन्फिडन्स असेल तर तुम्ही पाठपोट करावा. अदरवाईज काही तुमचे एखादे 50-100 पानं वाढल्याने काही फरक पडत नाही.
अच्छा ठीक आहे, थँक्यू सर.
करणे आनंद.
हॅलो सर. सर नमस्कार सर.
हा
खूप मायक्रो लेवलची माहिती भेटली सर रिसर्च संदर्भामध्ये. खूप प्रेरणादायी आपलं स्पीच होतं सर. तो 6 वर्षाचा जो तुम्ही कालावधी सांगितला ते अशाच विद्यापीठांनी रूल्स ठरवलाय का सर?
हे युजीसीने ठरवलेलं आहे.
युजीसीचा रूल्स आहे ना सर?
हा युजीसी रेग्युलेशन 2018 जे आहे त्या नियमानुसार 6 वर्षात तुमची पीएचडी झालीच पाहिजे.
ओके ओके सर, थँक्यू. नक्कीच होईल सर. थँक्यू.
हो तुम्हाला शुभेच्छा त्यासाठी.
थँक्यू.
नागपुरे शिवलिंग.
सर गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
गुड आफ्टरनून
सर की आता आपण जे सांगितलं की रिसर्च प्रपोजलच्या नावाच्या संदर्भामध्ये, तर माझं जे 10वीच्या सनदवरचं जे नाव आहे की ते इंग्लिश मधलं, त्याच्यामध्ये थोडं स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक आहे. मग आता मी तर एज्युकेशन मध्ये मराठीमध्ये रिसर्च आपण प्रपोजल करणार आहे, त्याची सबमिट करणार आहे, तर मग त्या नावाचा मला काही प्रॉब्लेम येईल का सर? म्हणजे का दुरुस्त करून घेणं आवश्यक आहे का?
10वीचं करून घ्यावं लागेल. तुम्हाला पुढे जॉब लागला तर रिटायरमेंट याला सुद्धा प्रॉब्लेम येऊ शकतो.
ओके.
कारण तो आमचा एक नाव आहे त्यांचं, 10वीला चुकून चंद्रहासचं स्पेलिंगच चुकलं. तेच नाव इंग्लिश मध्ये त्यांना वापरावं लागतं चुकीचं. मराठीत चंद्रहासच लिहितात.
स्पेलिंग मध्ये ए एक्स्ट्रा झालेला आहे सर 10वीच्या.
हा तर ते शक्यतो बदलून घ्या, म्हणजे पुढे काही प्रॉब्लेम येणार नाही, कारण डेट ऑफ बर्थ त्याच्यावरून कॅल्क्युलेट केली जाते.
नाही मी इन सर्व्हिस मध्ये आहे सर, मग त्यामुळे.
हा बैसाने शीतल.
अनम्यूट करा मॅडम तुमच्या साईडने.
हा बोला.
हॅलो.
यस.
हा सर, माझं डॉक्युमेंटरी जे नाव आहे, डॉक्युमेंटरी म्हणजे शाळेच्या प्रमाणपत्रावर वेगळं नाव आहे आणि लग्नानंतर नाव चेंज झालेलं आहे गॅझेट मध्ये. तर मग मी त्या गॅझेटच्या नावानुसार पेटची परीक्षा दिली होती.
हो ते त्यानुसारच करावं लागेल तुम्हाला.
जे अलोकेशन लेटरवर माझं म्हणजे लग्नानंतरचं जे बदललेलं नाव आहे त्याच नावाने अलोकेशन लेटर मिळालंय. तर तुम्ही जे मी आता म्हटले की त्याच्यामध्ये श्रीमती किंवा मिस असं काही लिहायचं नाही, पण मग मॅरिड वुमन जर असेल तर त्यावेळेस मग मिसेस तिथं मेन्शन करणं आवश्यक आहे का?
हे बघा, मॅरिड अनमॅरिड असा काही संबंधच येत नाहीत ना त्याच्यामध्ये. यू आर अ रिसर्च, यू आर अ स्टुडंट याचं.
हा
त्याच्यामुळे ते काही तुम्ही असं काही संबंध येत नाही त्याचा. तुम्ही जे टेक्निकली तुम्ही लिहिलं तरी तुम्हाला अडचण येत नाही, पण टेक्निकली ते साऊंड नाही.
म्हणजे लिहायची काही गरज नाही असं मिसेस वगैरे असं काय?
नाही.
अच्छा ओके ओके, थँक्यू सर.
निलेश पांचाळ.
हॅलो सर.
हा बोला.
सर मार्गदर्शन खूप छान वाटलं. माझी एक विनंती आहे आपल्याला की जर एखादा मॉडेल आपल्याला रिसर्च प्रपोजलचे जर तुम्ही ग्रुपवर टाकू शकला तर खूप उपयोगी ठरेल सर आमच्यासाठी.
नाही, रिसर्च ग्रुप मी त्यासाठी तुम्हाला शोध सिंधू नावाची वेबसाईट दिलेली.
हा
त्याच्यामध्ये जे विद्यार्थी रिसर्च करतायत आता याचे सगळ्या विद्यापीठांचे, तर ते सगळे रिसर्च प्रपोजल तिथं आहेत तिथे. आणि तुमच्या विषयाचं तुम्ही तिथं बघा, म्हणजे डुप्लिकेशन ऑफ रिसर्च पण होणार नाही त्याच्यामुळे याचं.
ओके सर.
हा
थँक्यू सर.
सर नमस्ते, मच्छिंद्र माने बोलतोय.
हा बोला.
मला असं विचारायचं होतं की मी सिनॉप्सिस किंवा डेझर्टेशन हे मराठीत करणार आहे, पण त्यातले संदर्भ लिहिताना इंग्लिश मध्ये लिहिले तर चालतील का ते मराठीतच लिहावे लागतील?
तेच लिहावे लागतात, मराठीतले मराठीमध्ये.
ओके, थँक्यू सो मच सर.
अजून कोणाचे प्रश्न आहेत का, डाऊट आहेत का? असतील तर हात वरती करा. डॉक्टर अशोक गिनगिने सर. गिनगिने सर.
हा सर, इथं थांबूया सर आपण. धन्यवाद बाविस्कर सर. एक प्रश्न आहे आणखी एक. अमित जी, आस्क युअर क्वेश्चन. अमित जी,
अनम्यूट करा तुमच्या बाजूने.
हॅलो, हा सर, आवाज येतोय का माझा?
हो येतोय.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर. सेशन फार चांगलं होतं. फक्त माझा एक सेशनच्या संदर्भात प्रश्न नाहीये, तर एक्झामच्या संदर्भात प्रश्न होता आपला, तर मी विचारू शकतो का?
बोला बोला.
सर, ती सरांनी जसं सांगितलं आम्हाला ती लिंक वगैरे, तर ते युजर नेम आणि पासवर्ड मागतं ते फॉर्म ऑनलाईन भरण्यासाठी वगैरे, तर त्या संदर्भात आपलं मार्गदर्शन भेटलं तर बरं होईल. मी फिजिकल एज्युकेशन मध्ये रिसर्च करतोय.
हे बघा, म्हणजे टेक्निकली सॉफ्टवेअरची अडचण असते, पण आम्हाला ज्या निर्देश आहेत, तुम्ही हार्ड कॉपी मध्ये तुमचं ऍप्लिकेशन सबमिट करायचंय, हे लक्षात ठेवा. हॅलो, एक्झाम फॉर्म हा गिनगिने सरांनी ऑलरेडी तुमच्याशी शेअर केलेला आहे, तो तुम्ही पूर्ण भरायचा आहे. त्याच्यावर फोटो, तुमचे इतर इन्फॉर्मेशन पूर्ण भरून त्याच्याशी रिलेटेड डॉक्युमेंट जोडून तुम्हाला रिस्पेक्टिव्ह रिसर्च सेंटरला जमा करायचं याचं.
ओके ओके सर.
हा, तुम्हाला त्याच्यामध्ये तुमचं एक्झाम्पशन क्लेम करायचं असेल तर ते सगळं तुम्हाला हे करावं लागेल, तर फिजिकली तुम्हाला हे फॉर्म भरावे लागणार आहे.
ओके सर, चालेल. हीच फक्त शंका होती. धन्यवाद सर.
हो. हेमंत पाटील.
सर, सर आवाज येतो माझा? गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
हो येतोय.
हा सर, सगळ्यात पहिला म्हणजे जो काही प्रॉब्लेम झाला मध्ये, ते माझा फोन लॉक होता, म्हणजे मी काही रेषा वगैरे मारल्या नाही. तर सर माझा प्रश्न ऍक्च्युली परीक्षेसंदर्भात होता, विचारू का?
हो बोला.
सर माझा प्रश्न असा होता, आता आम्ही मुंबईवरून 3 जण आहोत, जे PG रुपाणी कॉलेजमधून आम्ही तिकडे अप्रोच केलं होतं. तर आता आपल्याला परीक्षेची फीज भरायची आहे 1 ते 5. तर माझा प्रश्न असा होता, पहिला प्रश्न असा होता की आमच्या तिघांपैकी कोणतरी एक जण आला तर चालेल का? कारण आपलं जे सर्टिफिकेट मिळणार आहे अटेंडन्सचं, ते जर दुसऱ्यांनी लेटर दिलं तर ते माझ्या किंवा दुसऱ्या कोणाच्या हातात देतील का? समजा मला नाही यायचं असेल, दुसऱ्याला यायचं असेल, तर समजा मी अथॉरिटी लेटर दिलं, तर अथॉरिटी लेटरवर ते सबमिट करतील का दुसऱ्याकडे? आणि
हे बघा, स्कूल ऑफ एज्युकेशनल सायन्सेस मध्ये तुम्हाला सगळं म्हणजे ऑथॉरिटी लेटर देऊ शकतो, पण एक्झाम फॉर्म भरण्याची प्रत्येक रिस्पेक्टिव्ह रिसर्च सेंटर जे आहे ते ज्या पद्धतीने तुम्हाला मार्गदर्शन करतील त्यानुसार तुम्हाला फॉर्म भरावे लागतील.
अच्छा, म्हणजे आम्हाला तिघांना यावं लागेलच म्हणजे?
नाही, तुमच्या रिसर्च सेंटरशी तुम्ही कम्युनिकेट करा, त्यांनी यस म्हटलं तर काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही याचं.
काय प्रॉब्लेम नाही ना सर?
हा म्हणजे आणि ते
बोला ना सर.
त्याच्यामध्ये तुमची रिसर्च सेंटरशी कम्युनिकेट करा, त्यांनी म्हटले की ओके तर काहीच प्रॉब्लेम नाही.
ठीक आहे सर. आणि सर आणखीन एक प्रश्न होता, गिनगिने सरांनी जो फॉर्म पाठवलेला आहे त्या ग्रुपवर, एक्झामचा फॉर्म पाठवलेला आहे, PDF फॉर्म पाठवलेला आहे, तर त्यामध्ये सर सेमिस्टर वगैरे असं काय काय लिहिलेलं आहे, तर ते सेमिस्टर आपल्याला ऍप्लिकेबल नाही मिळत, म्हणजे मग ते
नाही, सेमिस्टर नाही, पहिल्या कॉलम मध्ये तुम्ही ते विषयाचे नाव लिहायचे आहेत.